Welcome back to another episode of The Drawing Board. I'm your host, Alec, and today we're taking a look at the Chicago Bears. The Bears are in an interesting position where they hold both the number 1 pick and went 7-10 last year. They also hold the number 9 overall pick, which is kind of crazy. But with that first overall pick, they can do a multitude of things, whether it be draft Caleb Williams, draft Marvin Harrison Jr., trade that pick. However, I have them trading down to the 3rd pick, and I believe they're going to select Marvin Harrison Jr. I've spoken very highly about Marvin Harrison Jr. in previous episodes, and I will continue to do so until a team drafts him. Arguably the best wide receiver prospect we've had in a decade. He can do everything on the field. Moving forward, with their 2nd pick in the first round at the number 9 overall slot, I'm taking offensive tackle Joe Alt. He's a big guy out of Notre Dame. Was a projected top 5 pick at the beginning of the year. Very good in pass protection, very good in the run game. I think that he's the top offensive lineman in this draft. I think that he could still be a top 5 pick if a team that was in the top 5 really needed that offensive lineman help. But yeah, that's going to do it for my segment on the draft. Moving forward to free agency, they have around $47 million in cap space. So they got some money to spend. They have some wiggle room. They're not getting a quarterback. I'm a big Justin Fields believer. I think if you put a good team around him, he can do big things in Chicago. But here's who I have them signing. I have them re-signing Jaylon Johnson for 4 years, $60 million. I think they'll be a huge person to bring back for that Bears defense. And for another defensive position, I have them signing Antoine Winfield Jr., 4 years, $70 million. I think that Antoine Winfield would fill that other safety hole that they have. I know they have Eddie Jackson. However, that other safety position is really, really lackluster in Chicago. Maybe I'm just casual, I don't know, but Antoine Winfield Jr. is one of the best safeties in today's game, and he proved that last season. He's very versatile. We've seen him cover Tyreek Hill. The guy can do a lot of things well. Moving on, I think that they're going to get a little more offensive line help. They're going to address their guard dilemma. I think they're going to sign Kevin Zeitler for 1 year, $10 million. I know he's getting old, but the Ravens had the best offensive line this past season by far, or one of the best. At least in my opinion, they have the best. I think that he'd be a great addition to the Bears and really help them out in what they want to do. Now, for the coaching staff, if they really want to start winning, I think they need to scrap their head coach, Matt Eberflus. Not really a big believer in him. I think they need to sign a guy like Mike Vrabel. Coaches like Vrabel and Belichick, they didn't get any looks this offseason. All of their head coaching slots are filled. I think that if they can sign Mike Vrabel, this team is completely flipped to 180. I don't know why the Titans let Vrabel go. He's a proven winner. He's won in the playoffs, won on the road in the playoffs nonetheless against the greatest quarterback of all time in Tom Brady. So I don't know why they wouldn't want to take that risk and go after Vrabel. They just hired a brand new offensive coordinator, Shane Waldron. I think he's a good pickup. I think that time will only tell with how well he's going to do. I think young offensive coordinators and young coaches are taking over the game of football. And they're all kind of applying that 49ers style of offense. A lot of motion, a lot of movement. And it works out. It works. And I think for the defensive coordinator position, the hiring of Eric Washington is going to be huge. I think that it's really going to put a test to how that defense is going to facilitate this year. I think that they can either do some great things or they're going to do really, really bad. Either way, I think that if they can start to find their footing again, make gradual steps, they can find themselves back in the playoffs, and ultimately, hopefully, if Jordan Love doesn't start taking over, win the NFC North again at some point. So with that said, here are the changes I made to the Bears this episode. And that's going to do it for another episode of Back to the Drawing Board. From the UCTV studio, I'm Alec, and I'll see you next time.